Let's talk about why people still risk their lives to come to the United States. Because nobody crawls through deserts, pays smugglers, or gambles their kids' safety to reach a country where the main selling point is a government handout. They come here because America is still the land of opportunity, not the land of guaranteed outcomes. Opportunity means the door is open. You still have to walk through it. And here's what drives me crazy about this new socialist, communist mindset being pushed like it's compassion. It teaches people to stare at the door and complain that walking is unfair. It teaches people to demand a prize for showing up. It teaches people to treat the system like a mother bird, not a marketplace. And if you build a culture of takers, you don't get justice. You get collapse. Capitalism at its best is not about the rich getting richer. It's about the most humble, low-station person on the bottom rung being able to climb. Because in America, you can use free resources to level up. Libraries, free information, free training, free courses. You can learn a skill. You can find a need. You can fill it. You can earn. You can keep what you earn. You can build something that didn't exist yesterday. That's not oppression. That's empowerment. And we don't teach it. That's the scandal. Public schools will teach your kid how to memorize for a test. They'll teach them how to comply. They'll teach them how to repeat whatever ideology is trending. But entrepreneurship, the thing that actually creates independence, is treated like an elective. Like it's a hobby. No. In a capitalist country, entrepreneurship should be basic literacy. Because if you don't know how money works, you don't know how freedom works. And let me tell you something from the classroom. I taught third grade, and I let my students run class businesses once a month. They made class cash. They learned how to price things. They learned how to save. They learned how to spend. They learned that if you waste your money, you don't get to cry about it. And at the end of the year, they could spend what they earned. I was the only teacher on campus doing it. And that's exactly the problem. We are raising kids to be employees of the system instead of owners in the system. Now let's talk about immigration, because people get emotional and start lying. I'm not saying every immigrant is a taker. America has always attracted builders. Some of the best entrepreneurs in this country came here with nothing. But incentives matter. If the message you broadcast is opportunity, work, assimilation, contribution, you attract builders. If the message you broadcast is freebies, benefits, and endless excuses, you attract takers. And if you flood a system with people who are trained to take, you don't get diversity. You get dependency, you get resentment, you get an already stretched system snapping. So the real question isn't, are they coming to give or take? The real question is, what kind of country are we advertising? A country of opportunity, or a country of entitlements? Because here's the truth. If you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. If you teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime. And socialism is the ideology of handing out fish while banning fishing. It punishes the fisherman. It taxes the pond. It regulates the boat. Then it acts shocked when there's no fish left. Now here's the angle nobody talks about. And it's one of the biggest reasons America is different. America doesn't just let you try. America lets you recover. That's what bankruptcy is. Bankruptcy is not a moral failure. It's a legal reset. It's a structured way to fail and start again. And if failure meant permanent destruction, most people would never take risks. They wouldn't start the business. They wouldn't hire anyone. They wouldn't invent anything. Innovation would slow down. The economy would freeze. So the system says, you tried, it didn't work, restructure, learn, try again. That's not weakness, that's strength. That's why capitalism keeps moving. And that's why socialism and communism kill a country. Because when the state controls outcomes, it also controls who gets to try, who gets to own, who gets to keep, who gets to fail. And in those systems, failure isn't a lesson, it's a sentence. So yes, I will say it plainly. Socialism and communism will be the downfall of this country if people, ignorant of the opportunities right at their doorsteps, keep complaining and demanding more handouts. Because you cannot build a nation on envy. You cannot build a nation on dependency. You cannot build a nation on punishing competence and rewarding excuses. Now, let me give you the constitutional receipts without turning this into a law school lecture. The Constitution was built for limited government. The 10th Amendment reminds you the federal government only has the powers it's actually granted, and the rest is reserved to the states and the people. So when Washington tries to run everything, including what your kids learn, That's not progress. That's overreach. And in the preamble, it says promote the general welfare. Promote, not provide, not guarantee. Promote means create the conditions where people can thrive. Rule of law, secure borders, safe streets, enforceable contracts, property rights, a stable currency, a culture that rewards work. That's general welfare, not turning citizens into clients, not turning immigrants into dependents, not turning the taxpayer into an ATM. So here's where we are. We are at a fork in the road. One path says teach people to fish, teach kids entrepreneurship, teach adults skills, teach responsibility, reward builders, enforce the rules, let people fail and start again. The other path says hand out fish, lower standards, call competence unfair, call effort privilege, call the system racist when you don't get what you want, and then demand the government fix your life. That's not compassion. That's a trap. And if you want to know why people still risk their lives to come here, it's because deep down they know the truth. America is still the place where you can start over. America is still the place where you can build. America is still the place where your idea can matter more than your background. But that only stays true if we protect the culture that makes it true. Opportunity, responsibility, and the freedom to try again.